have a record that will never be broken.
You can't trip on that.
They hit big shots with Luka. I think the Clippers have no idea.
Oh, look at that reaction. Look at that reaction. What do you say? What do you know? It's the full Monty Sports Show. It is Sunday, December 26th, 2021. I am your host, Monty Perez, aka the Sports Whisperer. You can follow me on social media. I'm up to about 120,000 views on TikTok in just 2 months. 120,000 views on TikTok in just 2 months. So I want to thank everyone for tuning in. I want to thank everyone for watching. Follow me on Twitter, MontyJP231, on TikTok, Monty Perez231, on Facebook and on Instagram. Don't spend a ton of time on Facebook and Instagram, but definitely, try to do as much as I can. Everyone, cheers. Merry Christmas. Mimosas ready. Yes, I hope everyone has had a safe, happy, healthy Christmas and holiday week. Just put up some little holiday pictures here for you. Merry Christmas, everyone. I always like the snowy pictures during the holidays, even though I am here in Florida. I like to put that up. Listen, we have the best guests all across the country. This week is no exception. Owner, operator, founder Joe Cardozo is going to join us talking NFL, talking NBA, a bunch of stuff there. We also have Rico Show Me the Money Graziano. Now, Rico might not be able to make it. He's in New Jersey. He texted me about 15 minutes ago saying he is not sure if he's going to be able to make it today. So we'll see. We'll just play it by ear how it goes. And again, keep the chats coming. Thank you for the TikTok success. Yes, not bad. I'm trying to post 1 or 2 videos a day. Sometimes I can't. I can really see how people can blow up on TikTok. Obviously, that's the goal. There are people posting 4, 5, 6 times a day. So I could definitely see how people do that. I'm doing once a day, and then during football games, like yesterday, posted a bunch of Packer videos, posted some Laker stuff. Obviously, the Packers won, Lakers lost. So we'll get into all that stuff. We start each show with the good, the bad, and the funny. All right, let's start with the good. Career touchdown passes. Breaks Brett Favre's record, 443. Now, a lot of people were like, oh, but it's taken him more years. No, it's taken him less years. Remember something. Aaron Rodgers sat for 3 years behind Brett Favre. He sat for 3 years behind Brett Favre. Now, the good news is, if you look at the Packers right now, right, you look at what the Packers are doing, the Packers are in first place. Packers have 12 wins. Packers have done a phenomenal job of getting wins. Look at this right here, right? Look at this. This is an amazing stat. They swept the NFC West, beat San Francisco, LA, Arizona, Seattle. They swept the AFC North. Now, it wasn't pretty yesterday. It wasn't pretty. I don't know what Cleveland's coaching staff is doing, but when you have a guy averaging, about 9 yards per game and Nick Chubb, what the hell are you doing not getting him the ball more often? Now, I know there was a bad call at the end of the game, okay, where the Packers defender was holding him. But come on, guys, let's not use that as an excuse. Baker Mayfield threw 3 interceptions before that. And I will say this. On one of the touchdowns that the Browns scored, I actually wanted to videotape it, but I think I was pouring a cocktail at the time, trying to relax on Christmas. So I did not record it, but he literally tackled the guy. The Cleveland Browns offensive lineman tackled the defensive nose tackle for the Packers, and it was a penalty, and they didn't call it. I didn't bitch and complain. I wasn't like, oh, this, we're going to lose now. No, the refs suck every week. Every week the refs are terrible. I used to tell my players all the time, look, guys, we know that the refereeing is going to be terrible. Okay, you got to play through it. Bad missed call at the end of the game, but like I said, during one of the Cleveland Brown touchdowns, they literally tackled and pulled the defensive nose tackle down to the ground. It was an obvious hold. They didn't call it. The Browns scored a touchdown. And I will say this. Yes, congratulations to Aaron Rodgers, but the Packers are in trouble. Joe Brady's defense is not fooling anyone anymore. This is the third week in a row where they're giving up a ton of points. Let's face it, you get just an above average quarterback and you lose that game. Okay, same thing happened with Minnesota. Minnesota, the Packers couldn't stop them. Same thing happened last week with a backup quarterback in the Ravens. It was if Harbaugh doesn't go for the 2-point conversion on one of the worst calls I've ever seen because the Packers defense was so exhausted, they win that game. So I'm not being a fanboy looking at one game. Oh, we're 12-3. No, their defense has been very bad over the past few weeks. And when you play Tom Brady, when you play Matthew Stafford, and if you play even Arizona, it's going to give them trouble. It's going to give them trouble. The Packers defense, I know they're hurt. They're not 100% there, but there's a lot of bad things going on. First of all, they never blitzed Baker last night. I mean, let's be honest here. Is there anyone on the Cleveland Browns offensive side other than Chubb that you fear going deep? Is there anyone with an elite speed? Jarvis Landry is an over the middle guy. Peoples-Jones is an over the middle guy. There's no one that's going to outrun you on that wide receiver core. And they didn't blitz Baker Mayfield once. There were a lot of question marks with Joe Brady. And again, winning masks everything. Aaron Rodgers said it when I was telling my dad when we were watching the game. He said we went conservative in the second half, which Matt LaFleur hasn't done. There was a possession there with about 5 minutes left where if the Packers get a first down and keep driving, game's over. They ran the ball 3 times. I don't care if you have Bo Jackson back there, Barry Sanders back there, the greatest running backs of all time. When Aaron Rodgers is your quarterback, you got to let him throw at least once on third down. You got to let the guy throw at least once on third down. So a little conservative is what it is. Packers are 12-3. And listen, I don't care who you are. This is impressive. They swept the NFC West. They swept the AFC North. Do I think the Packers are still the best team? I don't know, but they're pretty damn good. They're pretty damn good. So that's the good. Now let's get to the bad. Listen, when is it going to be time? We all knew this going into the season. We all see the writing on the wall. When is it time to just say, hey, listen, we have this is like Cleveland Browns yesterday. Cleveland Browns are a very solid team defensively and offensively. And they have a quarterback that just can't do it. When are the 49ers just going to get over Jimmy G? When? Because I got to be honest with you, right? I got to be honest with you. This is not a Super Bowl winning quarterback, right? One of the worst expressions that people say when they're dating someone or they're married or they're at a job and they'll say to me, the devil you know is better than the devil you don't. Come on. Come on. The devil you know is better. Someone said that as a 49er fan on Twitter. And I understand this. I understand in jobs, in relationship with your friends. 72% of all Americans live as adults within an hour of where they grew up. They don't like change. People don't like change. That's why when athletes move, they burn the LeBron James jersey. When Shaq left Orlando to go to LA, oh, he's a traitor. What? People don't like to move. People don't like change. But what are we doing? We know what Jimmy G is. We know what Jimmy G is. Say it out loud. Say it out loud. When you play the Seattle Seahawks with Russell Wilson, when you play the LA Rams with Matthew Stafford, when you play the Arizona with Kyler Murray, you're going into each game with the fourth best quarterback. And I know old heads are going to say, oh, it's a team game. That's BS. Because look at the division winners right now. Who's winning the division in the AFC North? Joe Burrow. Who's winning the division in the NFC North? Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers. Kyler Murray. Matthew Stafford. You look at all the playoff teams right now. The Kansas City Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes. Who's second? Justin Herbert putting up record numbers in his first 2 years. Yes, you can win with Peyton Manning and a running game and the Denver Broncos defense back in the day. But let's be honest here. It's a quarterback driven league. That's why when you look at the teams battling for the playoffs, it's not the teams that run the ball. Okay, the Philadelphia Eagles are the best team over the last 7 weeks running the ball. They're struggling to get into the playoffs because they don't have a legitimate passing game. The Cleveland Browns have two of the three best running back depth wise in the NFL. They're struggling. The Baltimore Ravens, they're struggling. Why? They can't throw the ball. So again, stop this the devil you know. Get rid of Jimmy G. He's not the answer. Every time you play a division game, you have the fourth best quarterback. All right. So that's the good, the bad. Now let's get to the funny. Okay, in the scene reminiscent of Home Alone, a Chicago man scoped out all these houses on a dead end street, okay, like the Home Alone villain, and he robbed four of them. He got greedy. He went for the fifth one. Jordan Kajewski was found naked in the chimney. And it took firemen over an hour to get him out. But as disturbing as this is of him going naked in the, first of all, the Chicago winter, it's freezing there. This guy's going naked into these chimneys. But this is a thing now, people. There have been over 25 arrests in the last 2 years with people going down chimneys naked, strangers. What is going on in your life when you wake up in the morning and you say to yourself, hey, I'm going to take off my clothes, break into someone's house, going naked down a chimney? 25 arrests over the past 2 years of people naked going down chimneys. So that's the good, the bad, and the funny. Okay, we're going to get Joe on in about 5 minutes. I'm going to go through these games real quick. I am 137-54 picking games. I lost with the 49ers. Jimmy G screwed me. So I'm 137-54. Let's get right to it. Bills are 8-6 at the 9-5 Patriots. Look, remember a few weeks ago when the Patriots beat the Bills 14-10? Mac Jones threw the ball 3 times. He threw the ball 3 times and they won. Cole Beasley, this is the biggest game of your career, but you're not going to play because you're unvaccinated. So now he's going to miss 10 days. Think about this. Think about this. And again, I don't care if you're vaccinated or not, but Cole Beasley, I'm sure, has listened to medical doctors. He doesn't go to his cousin's brother's sister's niece who wrote a blog about a vaccine because they know someone in Ghana who took the vaccine and got sick. But this is the biggest game of the year, and Cole Beasley won't be there. Since taking over in Foxborough, listen to this. Since taking over in Foxborough back in 2000, Bill Belichick, the head coach of the Patriots, is 36-7 against Buffalo. That included a 15-game win streak from 2003 to 2010. Take the Patriots here. They're going to throw the ball 15 to 20 times. I have not believed in the Bills since day one. Been on the show every week saying the Bills are not a legitimate Super Bowl team. Take the Patriots 23-20. 23-20. Listen, the 10-4 Patriots at the Carolina Panthers. The Panthers started the season 3-0. I had the Patriots and I had the Carolina Panthers before all their injuries to McCaffrey, to Sam Darnold, and I had the Eagles as my two surprise teams. But they started off 3-0. They've lost 9 of 11 games. The Bucs are coming off a 9-0 shellacking. First time Tom Brady's been shut out over 15 years. If you don't think Tom Brady's going to throw the ball almost every down, you are insane. Matt Rule may not make it. He may get fired after this game. Take the Bucs 41-17. All right, 4-10 Giants at the 7-7 Eagles. I've said this again and again and again. The Eagles running attack is number 1 in the NFL since week 8. They are averaging 214 yards on the ground. The Giants are just playing out the string. I like the Eagles here, still in contention for the playoffs, 31-24. Big game here for our friend A. Marie, who was just at the Colts Arizona game. She drove down there and she went to the game. She posted pictures. We have the Rams versus the Vikings. This is not updated. Obviously, the Packers are 12-3, but look, look at the logjam for the wild card here. Look at this: 8-6, 7-7, 7-7, 7-7, 6-8. Now, I think the Packers should be okay. I just think the Rams here are playing with so much confidence. I have Cooper Cup as my MVP. He's got 100 and I think 22 receptions, now up to 14 touchdowns. Cooper Cup is my MVP. He's not going to win it. Again, another player who's unvaccinated in Dalvin Cook. He will miss the game. Obviously, if he's on my team, I'm like, dude, do you really care about winning? Do you really care? All the data shows that the vaccine is safe. So I don't know what these guys are thinking. Again, listening to your cousin, sister's brother who knows someone in Guam who got sick from the vaccine is really, I mean, you listen to doctors when you have surgery, right? You don't have your sister's cousin fly in someone from a third world country to operate on you. Why you listen to someone from a third world country about the vaccine? Oh, and what a game this is going to be. Is anyone outside of Jacksonville and New York going to watch this game? But I'm going to do something here that I haven't done. This is a matchup between the 2-12 Jags and the 3-11 Jets. I want everyone to look at me right now, look into the camera. I'm doing something I haven't done all year. I'm predicting the Jets to win this game. Yes, the mighty New York Jets. They are going to win this game. Take the Jets here. Okay, in probably a 20-17 game. Yes, I did it. One time all year, I'll pick the Jets, and this is that time. Okay, the 2-11 Lions, 2-11-1 Lions at the 6-8 Falcons. How do you explain this? How do you explain this? The Falcons are 0-5 at home. What? They're 5-3 on the road. The Lions have won 2 games. I had the Lions going 4-13 this year. I don't think they're going to make it. I'm taking Atlanta here. I don't understand how this is even possible that they've lost all 5 games at home, but take the Falcons here 27-24. My boy Justin Herbert is just breaking all types of records. Said he would be rookie of the year last year. Said if I was starting a team, he would be my number 1 quarterback over the next 5 years. I'll take him over Mahomes. I'll take him over Rodgers. I'll take him over Brady. I have Justin Herbert as my starting quarterback over the next 5 years. He has the most passing yards ever in his first 2 seasons, and he's second behind Dan Marino in most touchdown passes in his first 2 games. I have them winning big here over the Houston Texans squad, who's just looking for a draft pick. Take the Chargers here, even though they're without like 13 players. Austin Eckler will not play because of COVID protocols, but take the Chargers here. Justin Herbert can play with practice squad players that put up 30 points. And we have the Bears, 4-10 at the 5-9 Seahawks. I saw a video, right, of Bears fans screaming as Matt Nagy walked off. Now, get a life, guys. You could boo. You could say you suck. There are people dropping F-bombs. There's people saying, go kill yourself, your family. Like, dude, get a life. Get a life. He's coaching in the NFL. Is he bad? Yes, he's coaching in the NFL. You're some loser who's drunk at 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon on a Sunday, wasted, telling him to kill himself and his family. Get a life, Bears fans. And it's not just Bears fans. The problem is you see, fan is short for fanatical. You see this all the time. Every time I scroll down TikTok or Twitter, there's on Sunday, there's fans getting into fistfights. If you get into a fist fight at an NFL game, first of all, you're the biggest loser on the planet. And second of all, you should be fined $10,000, banned for life, and you should get 30 days in jail minimum. Minimum. Stop it, losers. Yes, Nagy sucks. He's been terrible. He didn't want to start Justin Fields. He's a bad head coach. Fine. But to tell the guy, kill yourself and your family, you're just an absolute pathetic loser, scumbag of a human being, and you don't deserve to be at the game. You don't deserve to be at the game. And that's it. That's the final thing. Again, my goal is to get 80% here. 80%. I'm at like 74% right now, picking straight games, 74% picking straight games. Before we get Joe on, a lot of comments here. Yes, it is just sports. Yes, I picked the Jets. Yes, I picked the Jets. Let's see what else. Next to James on the field, shot at the chip. Yeah, I picked the Jets. I mean, I know everyone's shocked. I picked the Jets. I think they're going to win today. I really do. I do think they're going to win. Watch the Jets screw me. Watch the Jets screw me. All right, let's bring on owner, operator, founder, the man, the myth, the legend, Joe Cardoza. How are you, Joe?
I'm doing well. Good morning. Merry Christmas to you, Monte.
Joe, you were laughing. I don't know what you laughed more at me calling the Chicago Bears fan who said that a loser, or the naked people now sliding down chimneys.
I think the naked people for the win. That's a crazy
Joe,
story, man.
over like 25 arrests in the last 2 years. I don't know what.
Wild.
I mean, how is this like even? Who thinks of that?
Somebody who is not of the right mind.
I mean, look at this. I mean, you scroll the internet, you'll see a bunch of pictures of this. And you know
Why
what?
would I want to see pictures of that?
Not for nothing. All these guys have the worst bodies I've ever seen. God bless them. They're so comfortable walking around like that that they're all fat and disgusting. All right, Joe, we have a lot to get to before we get into Georgetown and a bunch of NBA stuff and Patrick Ewing. People say because, obviously, if you look at my background, I got a picture of the guy. But, Joe, how impressed are you with Justin Herbert right now?
Oh, very, very. I think that the Chargers still aren't using him the right way. Need to let this guy throw the ball. That arm is generational. I mean, this guy has I'll go as far as saying a John Elway type of cannon attached to his body. And why we don't let him throw the ball more. He's mobile. I mean, they should be doing play action passes, rollouts. I wouldn't have him run the ball himself too much because you don't want him to get injured, obviously. But yeah, they definitely need to find better ways to get him more involved in the offense. You see the times they do allow him to be himself and throw the ball, spectacular plays. I mean, that deep ball he had, 2 weeks ago, was one of the best deep balls I've seen thrown in a couple of years.
They were saying that. Yeah, they were saying that. And what's amazing, I've been saying this all year, he's winning despite his coach. There's the play calling, he's a defensive guy. The head coach is a defensive guy. Their play calling is atrocious. It's almost like, it reminds me a lot of Russell Wilson back in his heyday when, they run on first down, they run on second down, and it's like, okay, you got to make a play here. And Russell Wilson 9 times out of 10 did. But explain a little more what you mean by when you say they're not using him correctly.
Well, like I said, his strengths are rollout, being mobile, getting out the pocket. So why are we calling those plays once we're down? Why aren't we starting the game off with that? You have a great running back who can also be a great receiver out of the backfield. Let's run the screens a little bit more. Keenan Allen, great wide receiver when he's healthy. Mike Williams is a beast on the outside. Those fades.
Mike Williams has been phenomenal.
Yeah,
phenomenal.
Use the weapons. I almost feel like when I watch the Chargers games, once they get down, it's like, oh, yeah, I forgot we had Keenan Allen.
Yeah.
Oh, Mike Williams plays for us? Well, damn, give him the ball. He need to come out aggressive.
It's funny because A. Marie, who co-hosts the show on Monday, she always says it's never easy. If you're a Charger fan, you could be up 20, down 20. It's never easy. It's almost like, and it's almost like the rookie coach, he scripts the plays and they're terrible. And then Justin Herbert just has to ad lib.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And like I said, he's just way too talented to be – I'm not saying they're wasting him, but they need to make better opportunities for him to make plays and get the ball downfield. That offense should be a lot more explosive than what it is, I guess, is the bottom line.
Okay, and Joe, going back to the Christmas spirit here, we talked earlier, you said you spend time with your family. What is the best Christmas present you ever gotten, and what's the worst Christmas present you ever gotten?
Oh, man. Best Christmas present ever. Ooh. That was not in the email you sent with note prepared. I'll let you know. Best Christmas gift
Rico
ever.
canceling was not in the script either. So we just have to kind of.
I think the best Christmas gift, I shows my age, is when I got a Sega Genesis because I kept on asking for it. I'm not going to lie. The grades were looking rough, Monty, back in the day. And I just knew because of those report cards it wasn't going to happen. And I'm pretty sure it was my mom and not my dad that had the final say-so on that one. I was able to get that Sega Genesis. And to say I was happy is an understatement. I was pretty boosted.
I actually sent my brother Pete a clip the other day. The 1994 Sega Genesis hockey was like the greatest hockey game.
Oh, yeah, it was.
There was fighting. The ambulance would come on. Okay. It's to this day, it's still the greatest hockey game ever. And what was your worst Christmas gift? Someone gave you and you're like, are you kidding me?
Oh, man. Worst Christmas gift? Oh, well, I was dating a girl at the time, and I went all out on my gifts. Like, I spent money I shouldn't have spent and didn't even have on this girl. So I just knew, like, hey, she's going to come through with something spectacular for Christmas. Definitely ended up getting not one, Monty, not two, but 3 6-packs of socks for work.
That was the gift?
Yep. And I'm talking,
Wow.
I'm like Mr. Sapor, Mr. Coach Purse guy. I had fresh socks for a couple of months. Thanks so much for the consideration.
The best gift I ever got was probably when I first got my my first PlayStation. But you know, I wound up using it, and then I got rid of it because I was spending hours and hours playing. I had no life. Like, I would literally come home, play the game, and on a Friday night, I start playing at 6. I order food. I start having a couple cocktails. It's 11 o'clock. I'm still playing this game. I'm like, I got rid of it. The worst gift I ever got was probably someone gave me a chia pet and an electric,
What?
yeah, a chia pet, girl I was dating, and an electric wine opener.
I think I'd rather have the socks.
Yeah, wow, look at this. Atari 2600.
How old are you,
Wow.
George Lopez?
Wow. Look at this one. Game Boy. Remember Game Boys?
I do.
Yeah,
That was a
that was
game
good.
changer.
Yeah. All right, Joe, let's move on and talk college basketball here. Nuts and Bolts Sports is a permanent fixture now covering Georgetown basketball. But I got to be honest with you, I thought he should have been fired last year, but I could see why they couldn't fire him because they went 13-13 and they won the Big East tournament. But let's just go through it, Joe. 15-15, 19-14, 15-17, 13-13, 6-5 this year, 68-64. What do you like about Ewing on the sideline? What don't you like?
What I like about him is he's changing the culture of the basketball in Georgetown. What I mean by that is a good example would be like freshman players in Georgetown usually don't talk to media. I want to say their first semester of school. He's changed that now. We got a 5-star recruit, a great player, and Aminu Muhammad, who is now available to the media, talking to the media, so we get a chance to talk to him, learn his personality. Ryan Mutombo, we all know his dad, also getting a chance to kind of be in front of the media and share how their experiences with Georgetown. I mean, up and down, injuries, turnovers have been a big thing since he took over the team as far as Georgetown committing a lot of turnovers. I'm not in the camp that Patrick Ewing should be fired. I think that run in the Big East tournament shows you what he can do. And I think the lineup he has now, unfortunately, they're going through a little bit of a COVID issue. So their last two games in Big East conference play have been postponed because of COVID. But I thought the Big East tournament run showed you the potential that Patrick Ewing has as the basketball coach. A lot of people that really follow the program, there's very few who are saying he needs to go, to be honest with you.
Okay, but Joe, I mean, listen, I always say this. It's a very hard place. I used to live in New Jersey. I used to work Seton Hall basketball camp a long time ago when Tommy Amico was there, going way
Okay,
back
wow.
when.
Yeah.
And Chris Collins was the assistant coach. And they went to the Sweet 16, and Chris Collins left. He went to Duke after. And I remember he came into my room, me and this guy he was friends with, at like 1 o'clock, and he's like, he had a bottle of champagne. He goes, I just got the call from Coach K. I'm going to Duke. And we talked for like an hour, and he told me, he goes, Monte, it's when you don't have a football program, when you don't have a dominant football program, we don't even have a campus here. He's like, there's nothing to do here. The fact that we went to the Sweet 16, he goes, that is a miracle. Now, you look at Georgetown, you look at some of these Big East schools where they don't have a prominent football program. One of the reasons why people want to go to big universities, let's say like a Michigan, you see how close Juwan Howard is with Harbaugh. Like they all support each other. So you say you don't want to fire him. He's 68-64. If he doesn't make the NCAA tournament this year, that's four. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 5 years they don't make the NCAA tournament. So do we not have a high ceiling for Georgetown basketball?
Nah, we definitely do. And one thing you have to remember about Patrick Ewing, Monte, is he's the greatest player in the history of Georgetown University. I mean, Allen Iverson's probably is a very close second, but he is. So and then also Georgetown has a huge legacy, not only in college basketball, but almost a lot of people think that Georgetown University, they consider it to be almost an unofficial HBCU.
I was just going to say
in the African American community. Yeah, in the African American community, Georgetown's huge and big. So they're going to give Patrick Ewing a ton of rope. I mean, look at the Rolodex people he can call and people that he can bring in. And now you take a look at a guy like a Jamarco Pickett, who played for Georgetown, now plays for the Pistons. Now you're starting to get people that played under Ewing that are in the NBA. That's going to add on to the recruiting.
And that's my biggest gripe with Patrick Ewing. He has Alonzo Mourning. He has the Kimbe Mutombo. He has the entire Georgetown alumni community backing him, and
Correct.
he's 68 and 64. That's why I'm like, hey man, you should be at least 15, 20 games above 500 now.
Well, you got to have the players to do that. I mean, he's definitely has a set of rules that he wants players to follow, and the players that haven't been able to follow those rules no longer are part of the program, and I can respect that. Where there's a lot of coaches that let players run rampant as long as they can perform on the court, doesn't really matter what they do. He's not putting up with that kind of BS. Like I said, I am definitely not on the camp of fire Patrick Ewing at all. What I saw last year and that Big East run, being somebody like you said that's covering the team that talks to these players, sees how alumni and fans are responding, I think he's going to be just fine. Obviously, this COVID issue they're having now is not helping. Hopefully, those guys can get back on the court sooner rather than later.
Okay, but Joe, final point on this. Again, you guys at Nuts and Bolts Sports cover them. You're all over it. My point is, I look at the record and I'm like, dude, you're not getting it done.
We'll have to agree to disagree. I mean, they're not. You have to talk about the players he's lost, though. Mac McClung, great high recruit freshman, comes to Georgetown, transfers. You take a look at James Akinjo, who was the Big East Freshman of the Year, point guard, really, really good friends. One of his mentors is Damian Lillard, comes to Georgetown for whatever reason. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Doesn't work out. Josh
Okay, so
LeBlanc doesn't
you're
work out.
saying you're saying this because I say if you lose those stud players, that's on the coach. You're saying the reason why this is taking longer than we expected is he is having that John Thompson mindset. You got to do everything right on the court and off the court. So you're like, I don't care about wins and losses right now. I just want to bring in the best players that fit his system on and off the court. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Okay.
That's what I've been seeing. I mean, take a look at a guy like a Dante Harris, perfect example. Comes in as a freshman. His role was a backup point guard. He's rushed into the lineup to be a starter because a player left the program. What does Dante Harris do? He's the MVP of the Big East tournament, one of the best players on the team.
Okay, so what's the ceiling for this team? Maybe not next year, or if he continues not to make the NCAA tournament, when do you say, "Hey, man, you've had 5, 6 years now. You got to start putting wins together"?
Well, I think this year as long as they, like I said, as soon as they get back on the court, I think this year's team is and can make the tournament. Amina Muhammad is a beast, Monty. That kid's legit, and having a 5-star recruit on your team that also is being successful is a big feather in your hat for other recruits.
Yeah.
So
And listen,
I would say next year, if he's not performing well next year, you'll hear a lot more rumblings about people saying it's time for a change for sure.
okay, and I agree because any program you want to start doing stuff in your 4th and 5th year. It was his 4th year. Last year, they went to the NCAA tournament. They won the Big East, and you said this year, once they get healthy, we'll start seeing wins, more wins.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said,
Okay.
I'm not on the get rid of Patrick Ewing camp.
Okay, fair enough. You cover them. You know them way more than I do. I'm just on the outside looking in. All right, let's talk about something that I thought this Wizard team won the trade. They destroyed the Lakers. They literally robbed the Lakers when they got Kyle Kuzma, KCP, and Montrezl Harrell. 17 and 15. There's a lot of talk about Bradley Beal like not being as taking a step back, but this team should be able to make the playoffs, and I think they're a legitimate team if they're healthy.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I mean, like I said, for Wizards fans, first of all, if you take a look at the last 2 or 3 years and take a look at our starts, 17 and 15, hallelujah.
Yeah, yeah.
We're used to coming out of a ditch and having to fight our ways to even be in the playoff conversation. Obviously, we had a hot start this year. People were talking crazy Eastern Conference Finals. I mean, come on now, calm down. It was like 10 or 12 games into the season, and Wiz fans are going crazy. But this team is good. I think the biggest thing we've had, the biggest change under Wes Unseld Jr. is we play defense and we have depth. 2 things that Washington Wizards fans haven't seen in forever. And we're still, like you said, Monty, we're not 100%. We're missing Thomas Bryant.
Yep.
Rui Hachimura is a big part of our team and taking care of his mental health, has yet to set foot in the court. If we're able to play the way we're playing now without those 2 pieces, I think a ceiling for us is very high. And as far as the Bradley Beal talk goes, I'm just waiting and seeing when it comes to that. There's so many rumors going on that he doesn't want to sign the Supermax. He does want to sign a Supermax. He's
What's the deal
tanking
with that? Because
personally.
originally when Westbrook was traded, he's like, "This is where I am. This is where I
Yep.
want to be." And now they surround him with a lot of talent, and now he's saying that he does. Like, what? How is this working? I thought he wanted to stay there.
I think Bradley Beal's cut from the same cloth of a Damian Lillard. These guys are loyal. Like, I think Bradley Beal wants a statue of himself outside of Capital One Arena when it's all over. He wants the Wizards to like name the court after him when he hangs it up. So I think he's committed. I think that what he might be probably doing is just weighing out all his options. I mean, like we just talked about, they had a hot start. Everything was great. They go with this little rough patch. Maybe when they went through that rough patch, he was thinking, oh, this is really for me. But until I hear it from him directly that he does not want to play for this team, I'm not going to believe it. I mean, you know how social media is. The rumors about every player are daily.
Well, one of the things I like about this team, and you said it, and again, they're not healthy, but the depth on this team, I look at they go 9, 10 deep. There are
Yep.
players who, you have someone like KCP who can go an entire game and you don't know he's out there. And he's kind of like a Danny Green almost. Then he'll drop like 3 or 4 threes. He hit some huge shots when the Lakers won the title in the bubble. Kyle Kuzma may not be the best defender, super athletic. He's put up some big numbers this game. The depth on this team, and Montrezl Harrell, he may only play 20 minutes a game, but he's putting up 15 and 8. They got legitimate scorers and guys who contribute from 1 to 8 or 9.
Yeah, nah, for sure. I love Montrezl Harrell. I mean, you got to think he basically had a year off playing for the Lakers last year.
Yeah.
The limited amount of time they have him, and Kyle
And
Kuzma,
he's so bitter about that, Joe. He's still bitter about that.
and he takes out in his opponents every day on the court. And then Kyle Kuzma, we love him here in DC. Welcome home, Kyle. He fits in just fine. I mean, like I said, this team can come at you all kinds of different ways, and people seem to forget that Spencer Dinwiddie is still working his way back from injury. So I think that the sky's the limit. And the one big thing with Washington people got to remember is the team, the way it's constructed right now, is definitely really good. But with all these pieces, if they want to make a move or make a trade in the trade deadline, we got a lot of chips we can use, a lot of pieces.
Well, that's my next big question is talk about, first of all, their head coach, Wes Unseld Jr. Not a lot of people know his dad. I mean, were you shocked when they hired him? What is the feeling about their coaching staff?
No, I was happy with the hire. I mean, obviously the name means a lot to people in the Washington area if you follow the team. I was more on the train of Sam Cassell. I thought Sam Cassell would be a good fit, but I wasn't angry when they got Wes Unseld Jr. And like I said at the top, I think the biggest thing he brings to the team is we play defense now. He holds the players accountable. I kind of feel like with Scott Brooks, maybe he was letting the players run things a little more than he was. And I'll use one of your famous phrases, Monty. Scott Brooks refused to evolve. And I feel like Wes Unseld Jr. evolves even the beginning of the season. When we went through this little bit of a rough patch, he said we're not playing defense the way we were playing at the beginning of the year, and players are trying to play outside their roles. The guys heard that, and now it seems like the last couple of games we figured that out. I'm happy with the hire.
Well, I mean, and it's amazing because normally a young coach comes in, he kind of seems kind of like a hard ass, right? Like a player's coach, but like, I'm not going to let you not run back on defense. I mean, look at the look right here. He's giving one of his players, right? He's kind of like a no nonsense guy, right?
Yeah, nah, for sure. He is. A lot like his dad was. I mean, you can see a lot of that from his dad as well. And like I said, also with the age difference, he can kind of relate to some of these players too. And he grew up around the NBA environment. So I think it was a really solid hire. And a lot of people were giving a lot of grief to the Wizards general manager, Tommy Shepard. But like you said, with the trade of Westbrook and what he got back, the hiring of Wes Unseld Jr., I think Tommy's made some really good moves. I'll be interested to see what this team does or doesn't do as we get close to the trade deadline.
So what's the biggest need? Can I say maybe a rim protector? Maybe like someone like a JaVale McGee? Because if you're going to play Montrezl Harrell, yeah, he'll block shots, but he's not a great defender. The length on this team, is that a weakness? What do you think they need the most?
Yeah, I would agree with rim protector. I mean, I love Daniel Gafford. He's a work in progress. I mean, he has great highlight dunks, but sometimes he'll make some bonehead plays or there's a rebound that you just know he's going to get and he doesn't get it. So I would say rim protector or something. And then I'm always a big guy for shooting. You can never have enough shooting. So, I mean, Corey Kispert, the rookie out of Gonzaga, had a great game the other night, his first start in MSG.
I really like him. I like him.
Yeah, can he build off of that? We talked about KCP. So, I mean, shooting and the rim protecting, I think is something they should look for.
Okay, so can we say 6 to 4 seed, guarantee it? I don't see them being a 7 or 8 seed. I don't see them being a 3 seed. So anywhere from 4, 5, 6, right?
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. And like we talked about, we're still missing Rui. We're still missing Thomas Bryant. So I think 4 to 6 is reasonable.
And when is Thomas Bryant scheduled to come back?
He should be back a little bit after January, after the new year, if not early February. And then with Rui Hachimura, with a mental health issue, you just don't know.
You don't know. Yeah. All right. Listen, I look at the East right now and I say to myself, okay, Miami's starting. Miami had a rough start. They're starting to play better. Obviously, the Milwaukee Bucks and then the Brooklyn Nets. I don't know what's going to happen with Kyrie Irving. I think that's going to be a disaster because, if I'm a player and I start ahead of Kyrie Irving at home and then we go on the road and I'm playing 12 minutes as opposed to playing 30, I'm like, this is BS, man. Why are we giving this guy who's not all in, the opportunity? And what happens if there's a game 7 at home? The worst thing for the Nets right now is to have a higher seed because come playoff time, if this COVID rules are still in play in New York, Kyrie's not going to play a game 7 at home. So you almost want to make sure that there's 4 games on the road to take advantage of him. You think that's going to work?
No, I don't. And I don't think he's going to get vaccinated either, because I think if it was going to happen, it would have happened by now. I thought when this whole thing first went down, once the season started, it'll be a couple of weeks in, he'll get the jab, he'll be on the team. Once they got 10, 15 games into the season and you weren't even hearing him being discussed, I was like, wow, he's really digging in. So I don't know. If I was a member of the Brooklyn Nets, I'd have a problem with this. As far as we talk about commitment to winning, I would have a problem lining up with this guy and playing between the lines away, but then knowing, man, we got a big game at home next week. Oh, that's right, you can't play. That would bother me. That bothered me a
Not
lot.
only that, I said at the opening with Cole Beasley and Dalvin
Oh,
Cook.
that guy.
I mean, LeBron James actually put something out on Twitter. It was like the 3 Spider-Mans, and it was pointing COVID,
Oh,
cold,
horrible. Yeah.
flu. And I just tweeted at him. I said, why don't you ask Carl Anthony Towns if he knows the difference? Because Carl Anthony Towns has lost 7 family members to complications via COVID. So, I mean, just an ignorant tweet out of LeBron. But my point is, like, with Kyrie Irving has gotten surgery. He had surgery, I think, twice in the last 6 years. So if he trusts doctors then, why isn't he trusting doctors now? It doesn't make any sense. So I look at the Eastern Conference, and right now, because of this situation, I still have Milwaukee Bucks as 1. I have Miami Heat number 2, and I have the Brooklyn Nets number 3. How do you have it?
I have the Milwaukee Bucks at 1.
Right.
I go Nets still at 2 because I would just, until he retires, I will ride the Kevin Durant train. I mean, this guy is just a phenomenal scorer and can get things done and can drag this team. I mean, remember, a few inches away from hitting that 3 against Milwaukee last year. It's a different story.
Yep.
And then I also have above the Heat, and I'm surprised you and I haven't gotten into it yet over Eric Spoelstra. It's still early in the show. But I'll go Chicago. I'll go Chicago Bulls over the Miami Heat. I am shocked by what the Bulls are doing so far this year.
The problem I have with the Bulls is, again, health issues, but they're only 7 deep. Where you look at the Heat roster, Jimmy Butler, I mean, just a terrible, terrible job. Stories coming out a couple months ago about the Sixers, how Jimmy Butler wanted to stay, but he said, we got to get rid of Simmons, and they wanted to appease Simmons. So, and it turns out how that thing. Listen, Eric Spoelstra is a good coach.
This is worth waking up for.
He's not an elite coach. He only got to the finals in the bubble. Now, people can't have it both ways, right? There's a lot of people like Michael Rappaport, who's an anti-LeBron, who came out this week and said, you got to put an asterisk next to the bubble, the championship. No, you don't. You don't. I'm not putting an asterisk next to the Miami Heat getting there, right? I'm not. They got there. So I've given Eric Spoelstra credit because before LeBron, he never got past the first round of the play. He never got past the second round of the playoffs. So if I'm giving Eric Spoelstra credit, you can't say, oh, there's an asterisk because the Lakers won it in the bubble. You know how hard it was to win that championship, being away from your family, following all the rules. And it turns out for someone like Avery Bradley, who didn't want to go to the bubble because his son has medical problems, that was the safest place in the world to be. No one got COVID in the bubble.
I'm surprised they haven't been a documentary about that yet still. I know they did one for the WNBA, I want to say, but I'm surprised nobody from the NBA has given us a behind the scenes, because I know, like you said, that I can't imagine. I mean, you were playing the game, taking a shower, and taking a shuttle to the hotel. That's it.
It was unbelievable. And we know how NBA players like their nightlife on days off, if they're in the city. So you think I think the Bulls are a top 4 team, but I don't think the Bulls are better than Milwaukee, Miami, or Brooklyn. You think the Bulls?
I think the Bulls are better than Miami. I don't think
Okay.
they're better than Brooklyn and Milwaukee, though. I mean, DeMar DeRozan just showing everybody best free agent signing of the offseason so far. Lonzo Ball, people bashed him,
My
and
boy, the
quietly this,
Caruso.
yeah,
Caruso's
that
playing great.
we haven't talked about him. And then Chicago and Kobe White still working
Yeah.
his way back from injury. I mean, the Bulls are fun to watch. And again, I'll keep on harping on it. We have to see what some of these teams are going to do come trade deadline as well.
Well, it's amazing, Joe, because you look at I know you're a big North Carolina guy, right? You're a big North Carolina guy. But I
Yeah,
have
I
to
live
say
there,
this.
so I had no choice, kind of.
But I have to say this. If you look at the last, you're not obviously Michael Jordan, James Worthy, all-time greats. But if you look at the last 10 years, right? And you look at like who sent better pros to the NBA, it's not even close, really. Duke has dominated the NBA over the last decade over North Carolina.
I like the way you wiggled in a Duke comment into the conversation. No, I would agree. But I'd also ask you how many of those players from Duke are elite that are in the NBA?
This is the thing. Other than all right, Carlos Boozer was a multiple All-Star, very good player. Grant Hill, an absolute Hall of Famer, stud, great player. Obviously injuries, but you look at Duke right now. Brandon Ingram's an All-Star. He's not a top 10 player. If
Yeah.
Zion ever decides to stop going to the buffet, he's a
Oh,
2010.
that's brutal, Monte.
He's a 2010 guy. I think RJ Barrett is a solid set. They're good players. They're not elite, but they're good
Yeah.
pros.
The one guy from Duke that I thought was going to be a lot better than he is, and he's still early in his career. I'm definitely not writing him off. I'm just saying, like, put an asterisk by his name. Cam Reddish is the real deal.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And he was more heavily recruited than R.J. Barrett and Zion out of high school. Cam Reddish was a high recruit, and the guy I think going back to the Chicago Bulls, who the Chicago Bulls because they need depth should go out and get is Marvin Bagley Jr. out in Sacramento. He's barely playing. The
Oh, man,
guy's
he's in Siberia.
6'10". What's that?
I think he's out there in Siberia.
Yeah,
Until you just
they
said
don't-
that, I forgot he even played for the Kings.
He doesn't. Well, he doesn't play much because unless there's COVID, because they want to trade him. I mean, this guy when he was healthy, 17-8, 17-9, he could be really. That would be great if the Bulls go out and get him. That would be lights out. Are you concerned with Atlanta? They've had a lot of injuries. They've had a lot of COVID, but this team is just battling around 500 all year long.
I tried to tell everybody I wasn't sold on the Hawks. People were there, Trae Young this and Trae Young that. And I was like, it was a great playoff run. I respect what they did in the playoffs, but I just was not sold on them as being a real solid threat in the East. But I'm not writing them off yet. I mean, I thought it would be a little bit of a struggle this season, but I didn't think it'd be as hard as it's been so far. But as they get healthy and get people back on the court, like a lot of other teams in the NBA, we'll have to see how things shake out. I mean, you can't deny the talent Trae Young has for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand. Like there was a lot of people who were like anti Trey Young, and I never understood this, Joe, because I had no, I never understood it because he led the nation in scoring and assists as a freshman in Oklahoma. His first 3 years in the NBA, his numbers dwarf points and assists than Stephen Curry, like way ahead. He's averaging 25-9 this year. People are like, oh, he's not going to be able to get the calls anymore. We see that players had made an adjustment. James Harden is getting to the line just as much now. Scorers score. Trey Young is a natural scorer. And like I said, his first 3 years in the league, he's putting up numbers that Steph Curry didn't put up to his fourth, fifth year. He's got unlimited range. He's a phenomenal passer. He's the youngest player in the history of college basketball to lead the country in scoring and assists. When the Hawks got him, I was like, this dude is the mini Steph Curry. He's phenomenal.
Yeah, we'll have to see what he can do. We'll have to see what he can do. I mean, I think that team still needs some pieces. Like, I love John Collins as much as the next guy, but I wonder if he needs I wonder if Trae Young needs a better Robin to go along with him.
That's a good point because Bogdanovich, Herter, I thought that might be Cam Reddish, but his development has been slow. And here's the problem with John Collins, and I say this about R.J. Barrett. They do everything good. They don't do anything great.
Yeah,
John Collins is a good rebounder. He's a good scorer. He's a good defender. He's a good shooter. He's not great at anything.
Yeah, like you're not going to give John Collins the ball, get out the way, and he's going to get you a bucket like you can with Trae Young. And I think having a better Robin, when players do double team Trae Young or try to get the ball out of his hands in those clutch moments, he has somebody he knows he can throw the ball out to that's going to get it done.
That's a great point. Okay, let's move to the NFL. Washington football team, 6-8. Listen, this team is very hardworking with their head coach, Ron Rivera. Still in the playoff hunt, but I got to be honest with you, Joe. I look at this team and I'm just like, everyone loves this quarterback. It's a great story. But as the weeks go by and as you play better competition and as the pressure mounts, there's a reason why this guy's a journeyman, right?
Yeah, I think that's a great statement. I would agree with that. I mean, it's been, I don't know how many years it's been now. Once again, Washington looking for a franchise quarterback. I'll just say with this team, I'm not disappointed or surprised at all because we never got a chance to really see the team that we saw on paper in the summer. I mean, we
Right.
knew that when we got Ryan Fitzpatrick, okay, he's a journeyman, he's a slinger. He'll have one game with 4 interceptions. Next game we'll
One
have
quarter
five,
with
we'll have
4
five. Yeah.
interceptions.
Next game, 5 touchdowns and 1 pick. We didn't even get a chance to see that at all. He gets injured. And we have him. We have Chase Young that's out. So, I mean, I respect the way this team plays. They definitely take after their coach. They're hard worker. They don't give up. But you're right. With Taylor Heineke, it's a great story. He'll make some great plays. And he'll make some plays to make you scratch your head. So here we are once again for the umpteenth time as Washington fans looking for a quarterback.
Yeah, and so that's my next question. Ryan Fitzpatrick was injured. He was scheduled to be the starter. I thought this team would be a top 5 defensive team. And
Yeah,
listen, let's
everyone
be
did.
honest. They gave Tom Brady and Tampa Bay the most competitive playoff game, all even in the Super Bowl when Tampa Bay blew out the Chiefs. The Washington football team had them battling to the very end. So
Yeah.
the defense has been hurt. The offense has played better. What are you doing this offseason for a quarterback?
I don't know. I mean, it's not
Deshaun
the greatest.
Watson?
It's not the greatest draft for quarterbacks. If you draft, there's some good players available. Like think about Pickett from Pittsburgh. You think about the great quarterback from Liberty. But these guys are people that are guys that are going to need, I think, a year or two to develop. So if you do draft one of these guys and you get lucky enough to have them drop to where we pick, okay, now you bring in a veteran again, or you stick with Taylor Heineke for another year to let these players develop. And I also think for the defense, I think what happened with our defense was everyone was trying to be a superstar and make the big play instead of just doing their job. Because at the beginning of the season, you couldn't have told me that we're going to be in every game because our defense is going to hold people down. And the exact opposite happened. We didn't hold anybody down at all. And now we lost.
Worse in the first 6
Yeah.
weeks. Yeah.
We lose Chase Young, our all-world defensive end, who wasn't having the greatest season either before the injury as well. So there's a lot of questions heading into the offseason for Washington. Deshaun Watson, I don't know. I mean, we have to find out what's going to be the ramifications from his legal problems. Like, is the league suspending him for 6 games? Is the league suspending him for a season? You don't know.
And I know people don't want to hear this, but the limited time he plays, he's still young. He still can play. He's I would say Marcus Mariota. If you want to draft one and bring a veteran in.
You know what? I wouldn't be mad about that at all. And with our offensive line, that's a guy also. It's mobile. He's not a sitting duck back there. That's not a bad idea. That's not. I mean, can see that.
His contract is up, and like I said, he's played limited. I mean, last year when he started, when what's his name, Derek Carr got hurt, he came in and they almost beat the Chargers. He can still play. He's young. So the biggest question mark here is, one, did the defense kind of believe all the hype as a young unit that, like, yeah, we're so good, and then that just didn't pan out? And two, so if you don't draft a quarterback, where do you go? You bringing this guy back?
I like the Marcus Mariota deal, and shout out to you, Maya. I like how you were able to put in not only a way to slide Duke into the conversation, but also a way to slide in an Oregon comment as well.
So I'm a professional.
I think we have to go young quarterback in the draft, and then find a veteran to bring in to help for sure.
So you don't mind them getting a quarterback and bringing in like a Mariota or a Ryan Fitzpatrick or whatever, just a veteran, and say, hey, this guy will start next year, sort of like what Kansas City did with Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, for sure. We definitely need a bridge. I think it will be a really bad idea to draft a quarterback in whatever round, and that's your starter day one.
Yeah, especially since you look at last year was the quarterback draft. You look at this year, it's for whatever reason, it's not a dominant quarter. Next year might be, but not this year. All right, Joe. Yeah. So break this game down today. Is it going to be competitive, or does Dallas steamroll them?
Oh, I hate to say this. I'm sure that our good friend Greg is watching the show. I think we're gonna get rolled. I'm not gonna lie, man. I mean,
if it was home, you might feel different, right? If it was home,
exactly. My pick for defensive player of the year, Parsons plays for the Cowboys, along with Lawrence, who's back and roaring. I think that Dak Prescott's heard all the chitter chatter about his being scared and playing scared, and what a great opportunity to play against a defense that's been kind of so-so with the weapons that Dallas has. Yeah, I'm thinking this one can get ugly quickly.
All right, Joe, what are your top 3 teams in the AFC? Let's start with that.
Top 3 teams in the AFC, I'd probably have to go Chiefs, Patriots, and believe it or not, what I saw last night, I'll go Colts.
This Colt team is amazing because people think Carson Wentz has had a terrible year. Up until 2 weeks ago, he had one bad game against the Ravens where he threw 2
Yeah.
interceptions. But he started the season 65% completion percentage, 17 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He's managing the game. Let's be honest. I love the kid Pittman from USC.
Oh,
As a
yeah.
matter of fact, speaking of Oregon, his brother, talk about Mario Cristobal failing, transferred out of Oregon because they were running a 1950s Army's offense, running the ball. But other than Pittman, Joe, who do they have for him to throw to?
I mean, don't forget about the ghost, T.Y. Hilton. Yeah, he's a veteran, but
yeah.
T.Y. Hilton still's got some gas left in the tank. They got a pretty good tight end as well. I'm with you. I was one of the guys that had jokes about Carson Wentz. Oh, this guy's season's horrible. But I think what it was is he had some horrible plays, some bonehead interceptions. Think about that shovel pass. And I think I just drank the social media Kool-Aid and was like, oh my God, this is a horrible trade. And then quietly the last 4, 5, 6 weeks, this guy shut everybody up with solid play. And I think the Colts are the real deal.
And Jonathan Taylor, better than you thought coming out of college?
Yes and no. Beast at Wisconsin, but I wasn't sure if the Colts would be a good fit for him to showcase his talents. But they figured out Frank Wright and company have figured out a way to get the most out of him. That's why I have them my top 3.
Okay, so let's just go over Carson Wentz's stats here. All right. He's got 3,200 passing yards in a predominantly running offense, 25 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. What I like is you always wonder about his accuracy, 64% completion percentage. So 25 and 6, Joe. He's going to finish with 30 and 8. I'll take that any year.
We'd love that in Washington, Monte.
Yeah. And Jonathan Taylor, I have Cooper Kupp winning the MVP, but if Jonathan Taylor wins it, I can't. He's Derrick Henry right now.
Yeah, for sure. No, I would agree with that. I still lean a little bit, even though he missed the games of COVID. I was still leaning a little bit towards Aaron Rodgers. But I mean, all 3 of those guys, Cooper Kupp, Jonathan Taylor, Aaron Rodgers. Some people might even still throw in Tom Brady, but I'd like to see some fresh blood, even though Rodgers is not exactly fresh blood. But those would be the 3 guys I would have in my conversation when it comes to MVP.
Yeah, like I said, I think it's 10 of the last 11 MVPs have been quarterbacks. The last one to win it was Adrian Peterson. I said this last week. This is why I say running doesn't matter anymore. You have to be able to play defense. You got to run the ball situationally like the Packers do. But the last leading rusher to win a Super Bowl, Joe, was Terrell Davis in 1998 or 99 with the Denver Broncos. So all these people's like, Rex Ryan just said this 3 weeks ago on ESPN. You got to ground and pound in December. No, you don't. No, you don't. If that's the case, the leading rusher for every team, for the leading rushing team in the NFL, the Ravens, the Eagles, they'd be, where the Packers are. Why are the Packers so good? Because they have Aaron Rodgers. So I want someone other than a quarterback to win it, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think you're right. I think they're going to give it to Aaron Rodgers. Okay, who is your top 3 in the NFC? I have the Bucs as number 1, Packers number 2, Rams number 3. I'm looking at the Packers defense, Joe, over the last few weeks. Joe Brady, he didn't blitz Baker Mayfield at all yesterday. They just bend.
Yeah, why not? That made no sense.
No, it doesn't make no sense. And they just bend. They don't break. They're getting turnovers. But when you bend against Tom Brady, when you bend against a Matthew Stafford or a Kyler Murray, they're going to score in the red zone. And right now, Packers are great. They're going to have home field. I think the Tampa Bay Bucs are going to have to play either Dallas or the Rams, which will not be easy for Tom Brady. So I'm going to change my thought. Packers 1A, Bucs 2nd, Rams 3rd.
I go Cowboys. I go Packers. Well, Packers number 1. We're doing this in order, right?
Yes.
So Packers number 1. I would go Cowboys number 2 and Rams number 3 over the Bucs. The reason why I picked them over Tampa Bay, just the injuries. Chris Godwin
losing Godwin
huge.
Is
Chris,
huge.
Of course, Mike Evans is going to try to play to their hamstring injury, but hamstrings are tricky. I mean, that's one out route away from being a serious injury.
From being out for 4 weeks.
Yeah, and then Leonard Fournette, hamstring as a running back. those injuries are tough injuries to have. So that's why I would pick the Rams slightly over the Bucs, because you know me, I hate to go against TB12, but those are a lot of odds stacked up against him right now.
That's a great point. And I mean, how many chances, how many excuses? One of the things that my dad always says, he comes over, we watch the game, we watch the Packer game, and he's like, it's so nice having a quarterback that you don't have to worry. Aaron Rodgers is never going to get outplayed. But how many excuses are we going to make for Baker Mayfield, Joe? I mean, at what point do you just say he's hurting the team more than he's helping?
What I saw yesterday was just unbelievable. I mean, that was like a chance to really have a statement game and also keep your team right in the middle of the playoff hunt. And just to come out there with 3 interceptions and the game with 4, just a decision making. I mean, that one interception, almost like a pooch punt, but it was actually
a punt. That's
throw.
What I said.
Yeah, it was a horrible throw. Just what the hell are you doing out there? Like, I don't understand. You talk a good game, keyword being talk, a good game. I just feel like, I don't know. He had a chance to really make a statement for his team, for the contract he wants yesterday, and he just dropped the ball 100%. I think if I'm Cleveland, I'm reconsidering, do I offer this guy an extension? Maybe they go the same route we talked about with Washington. If you're the Cleveland Browns, do you draft a quarterback and stick with Baker to a 1-year deal and let that young guy sit behind him?
Yeah, because listen, I'm not paying Baker Mayfield $30 million.
Oh, no.
I'm not. And again, you look at that division. Okay, Big Ben's on his way out, so they're going to have to do something with the quarterback position. But you have Lamar Jackson. When he's healthy, he's better than Baker Mayfield. You have the leading the Cincinnati Bengals are winning that division because Joe Burrow is carrying that team. Again, a lot like San Francisco and Jimmy Garoppolo. The Browns are going into every game now, and you could say, hey, we have the 4th best quarterback in the division. You can't win consistently like that.
Yeah, no, you can't. And then part of my daily routine when I do my daily prayers, Monte, is to get Joe Burrow an offensive line. That kid is way too talented to be running for his life every Sunday like Russell Wilson.
That's
you got to get him help.
You're praying for the Cincinnati Bengals.
For Joe Burrow, man, he's a great talent, but it's like the hits he takes. Oh my God, man! And he'll still make a great throw, but he'll just get blasted. And remember, we're coming off a torn ACL injury. We got to get some O-line help for that kid.
Wow, Andrew, you're not holding back here. Look at this. I thought only sports superstars get commercial deals. How does Baker Mayfield still have a commercial deal? He sucks. Wow.
I agree. Maybe those contracts are binding. There's no way for Progressive to get out of those commercials. They got to stick with them.
Not just that. I mean, they show those. It's like during the March Madness, all you see is Dick Vitale, Grant Hill, Shaq, Kenny Smith. Every NBA playoffs, all you do is see Shaquille O'Neal. Shaquille, can we turn one commercial down, please? Do you have to be in every commercial? You have a reality show. You're on TNT. You have a podcast. You're spinning records. Dude, take a break.
Hey, man, checks got to still keep on coming in, man. He's got mouths to feed, Monty.
Come on. Do you know how much Shaquille O'Neal is worth?
I can only imagine.
All I'm saying is turn down one commercial. Just one.
Well, Baker should spend a little bit more. Baker should spend a little bit more time perfecting his craft and a little less time in front of the camera.
Shaquille O'Neal is worth $400 million.
Point made.
$400 million, Joe.
Still out there working like you and I.
And still doing the General car insurance commercial, which is like a local company. What is going on?
Don't forget Papa John's.
Well, I think he owns like 130 of those now.
Yeah, Shaq-a-Roni's a good pizza, man.
All right, Joe, let's talk about nuts and bolts sports. What you got coming down the pike? First of all, we are doing a halftime show. You and I did it last year, Friday night, New Year's Eve. We are doing a halftime show after Alabama-Cincinnati halftime. And Joe may have a couple cocktails in him. Going to be nervous as hell because his Michigan Wolverines are going up against an elite defense. So, Joe, tell us what's going on with nuts and bolts sports.
Yeah, just trying to end the year strong, man. A lot of stuff's going on. Like you said, talking about college football playoffs, knock on wood that those games go off without a hitch. While you've been doing your show, we've already had 2 bowl games canceled because of COVID issues. I know that those teams in the Final Four have all landed at the locations. I want to say like maybe a week ago. All the Michigan football players got their booster shots, but they're in Miami for the Orange Bowl. Cincinnati and Alabama are in Dallas, so you already know those teams are probably in a super bubble right now to try to make sure their players stay as healthy.
Walking around with a hazmat suit.
Hey, you know it. There's a lot of money in the line and a lot of bragging rights too on the line for those teams. So we have a college football preview show for the Final Four. Our 2 college football draft analysts, Jeff Barnes, and I'm going to be along for the ride. Jeff and Bill will run the show. I'm just kind of there to keep the peace. That will be on the 30th. Like you talked about, Monte, you and I will be live halftime of each of those shows. And then tons of articles coming out for Nuts and Bolts. We're just trying to make sure that we end 2021 as strong as we can.
All right, Joe. What is your mindset with this Michigan team now? I was so impressed when they played Ohio State because they did something that they haven't been able to do, and they dominated the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. Now, admittedly, Georgia's offense and defensive line are better than Ohio State's, but you had to be impressed with Harbaugh, what he's done this year. Finally got the proverbial monkey off his back, beating Ohio State. Are you happy to be there, or is it like, hey, man, if we don't get to the national championship and win it, it's a failure of a season?
Oh, I'm just happy to be there. I was one of those guys that was super skeptical all season. Even when we were undefeated, we kept on going up in the rankings. I was like, we're going to blow it. We're going to blow it. Once we beat Ohio State, I was taking gulps of the Kool-Aid. I am all in now. I am all in now. The Michigan gear that's been locked away and all dusty is now out. I'm talking trash to people. I am all in. If we get blown out by Georgia, I'm going to be so angry. I can't even tell you, because I mean, you got to remember, Georgia's got a bad taste in their mouth as well, coming off the game they had against Alabama, and they've had time to prepare for us. But I think with Jim Harbaugh on this team, we silence a lot of critics with the Ohio State game. But if we're somehow able to beat the Georgia Bulldogs as well, oh my gosh, you can't tell me anything, or the Michigan fan base anything at all. We can get blown out in the national championship, but if we win this game, all bets are off.
Listen, they dominated Ohio State. And one of the things when, again, bringing up Oregon 3 times, so whoever has our bingo drinking card, one of the things that I loved is they went out in the Final Four, Oregon, and they beat Florida State 59-20. I mean, dominated Florida State and Jameis Winston. And then a week later, they were without their starting tight end and 2 wide receivers. They lost to a better Ohio State team, but I wasn't upset because we beat Florida State and Jameis Winston. So getting there is good enough, right?
Yeah, nah, for sure. I'm not mad. Because I mean, at the beginning of the season, if you had told me we were going to make it, I would have laughed in your face. And I've been a Michigan Wolverine fan since a guy wearing number 21 jersey was doing the Heisman pose in the end zone against Ohio State. Like, that's how long I've been a fan of Michigan. Tim Biaka-Batuka, Tyrone Wheatley, Tom Brady, Greasy, all those, Elvis Gerbach, for God's sake. Yeah. So I know my Michigan history, but I didn't think this team was Final Four bound at all at the beginning of the season. So just being there is exciting to me.
And Greasy won that was the last national championship, right? 1997?
Yep, absolutely. Co-champions, won a Rose Bowl.
Yeah. I remember his father was announcing the game, Joe, and
cool.
He was like almost crying on air.
Yep, that was a great moment. Great moment for Michigan. Charles Woodson.
Is that your favorite moment of Michigan?
Oh, no, it'd be a tie between Charles Woodson winning the Heisman and one of my favorite Desmond Howard games was when they played Florida State. Because if you remember, Florida State had an all-world DB, Terrell Buckley. And Terrell Buckley was supposed to be the greatest thing since sliced bread. And Desmond Howard had
Deion Sanders.
Yep, and Desmond Howard had a hell of a game against him. I got a framed Charles Woodson jersey in my room right now.
Listen to this. Desmond Howard won the Heisman. He was MVP of the Super Bowl. A lot of people don't remember that when he played for the Packers, because he had a kickoff return and a punt return.
The robot in the end zone.
Yeah. So, Desmond Howard, just a living legend there. All right, Joe. Finally, fantasy football. Despite my injuries, despite starting the season 1-3, I am in the playoffs at Nuts and Bolts Sports. You're in the playoffs as well, correct?
Yes, I am. All you guys laughed at me when I picked Aaron Rodgers super early in the draft, and then I came back and waited for you guys to make mistakes.
I'm like, why?
Waited for you guys to make mistakes, and I swiped in and got Dak Prescott, and I've been riding those two along with a guy named Cooper Kupp all the way to the playoffs.
Yeah, Cooper Kupp. I think I beat you early on in the year by like 0.5 or something like that.
Oh, it was brutal. Something bad.
So you're the number 2 seed, right?
Yeah, correct. And it's 2 rounds for our playoffs. So I lost by like 1 point the first round because I forgot who he had in this team. Oh, Kelsey got the guy I'm going against like 40 points.
Players,
yeah. And now I'm leading right now heading into the second. So hopefully I can win that and I can keep this thing going.
All right. Well, good luck to you, Joe. How can we follow you? How can we support you?
You can follow me on social media at Joe Cardoza 301, and then you can support me by just looking up Nuts and Bolts Sports. We're everywhere: Instagram, TikTok, the whole nine. We're trying to get on Monte's level when it comes to our TikTok engagement. but you can follow us at
I'm
Nuts and
including you
Bolts
now. You
SP.
see the numbers are going up. We're getting
Correct.
there.
Yeah, you talk the talk and then you walk the walk. Because like within a day, you were like, "Look what I did! Look what I've built!" And I was like, "Oh, this guy's on to something."
You know,
So I
I
definitely
said,
have to
Joe,
give you credit.
if we could just like during Sundays or at night watching the game, I'll just post a quick video of the game in my commentary. It's basically like a little clip, like a Sports Center clip. If we could just get someone from Nuts and Most Sports to do that one game, it doesn't matter what game it is, and just
Yeah.
put it up there. Like I said, I'm posting 1 or 2 videos a day. I'm up to 120,000 views in like 2, 3 months. You guys started at a certain number. We've increased it by like 10. If we could just post one video a day, we're set.
Yeah, now we definitely got some big plans for 2022. I mean, one cool thing about Nuts and Bolts, for those who don't know, our birthday is January 1st. So we turned 7 years old on January 1st. So we definitely want to make sure that year 7 is the best year yet. I got a lot of things lined up as far as social media engagement. We're going to start being really active on Twitter Spaces. We'll have MBS Space Day, where we'll just have a topic of the day and people can just hop in and join the conversation. That's going to be something we're really looking excited forward to. And of course, keep on helping to promote new voices in sports, man. I mean, one of the things I'm really proud of this year at Nuts and Bolts, we had 5 people that left NBS, but you might think that's horrible. They left. Well, they left for paying jobs. Bleacher Report, the NBA, NBC Sports Bay Area. So to see people grow with Nuts and Bolts Sports and then move on to bigger and better things, that's what it's all about. And we're
Look at
also
this, Joe.
Oh,
We may have to do
a
something.
duet? We got to
We
plan
may
it
have
out,
to do
brother.
something.
I got
We may
a
have to
proper
do-
stretching. You got to give me a notice. So I got proper stretching, Monty.
All right, Joe. And Joe, listen, it's been like over a year. Can you send me some? That's a nice shirt you're wearing. Can I get one of those?
Do you know what? I'm gonna make it happen. I'm gonna
Is
get
that
some.
gray?
I'm gonna get some hoodies too. Yes,
That's
it
gray,
is.
right?
It is great. I
Yeah,
wanted to
that's
go with
nice.
something pastel because I figured if I did that, I had a good chance of matching you. But none of my pastel polos were clean, so I was like, I can't do it. But I wanted to
That's
go
a
like
nice
a
shirt.
teal or an aqua or
Yeah,
something.
I like that. That's very nice. All right, Joe. I guess I'll see you on Friday night, right?
Sounds good. Yes, sir.
Sounds
I'll
good.
make sure I'll bring the cocktails. You bring the passion.
I know you're going to be nervous. I know you're going to be nervous in that one.
Yeah,
But listen,
yeah, for sure.
for someone like me who has never seen Oregon, I mean, I wasn't really a big fan when they lost to Cam Newton 22-19 in the national championship way back then. But once Mariota got there, I really started liking them. Just enjoy it, man. Enjoy the week. Have fun. Win or lose, you've done something that 400 other teams did not do.
Yeah, for sure. I'm definitely going to try that. What I really hope is just keep the COVID at bay. I know it's whatever you got to do, Harbaugh. Slide the meals through a mail slot, something man. Just keep those guys as safe as possible.
Wow, look at this. I'm getting killed. Anything's better than the Psychiatric Award white shirt that Monty's wearing.
Wow.
My sister just bought me this polo for Christmas. It's a beautiful polo shirt.
Yeah, I think it's sharp. People are brutal.
Wow, getting killed. All right, Joe. We'll see you on Friday. Enjoy the week.
All right, you too. Thanks, man. Appreciate it, Monty.
Thanks for coming on. All right, that was Joe Cardozo. Obviously, Rico not coming on today. He's traveling, the rock star that he is. Real quick, we have 3 games that Rico that we didn't include because I thought Rico would be able to drop on. By the way, here's Rico in his little Christmas pajamas with his son. That is a nice picture. Matching Christmas pajamas. Okay, let's just go through these games right now. You got the Cleveland Browns. I'm sorry, the 8-6 Ravens at the 8-6 Bengals. Cincy is a 3.5 favorite. Listen, the Ravens are on their 3rd string quarterback. Hundley's not playing. Lamar Jackson's not playing. Take Joe Burrow here. Cincy covers 27-20. 7-7 Denver Broncos at the 7-7 Raiders. I just don't like the Broncos offense. I think Teddy Bridgewater has played fine, but at home, Derek Carr's a gunslinger. People don't realize this. I think it's Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, and then the most yards in the last year has been Derek Carr. This guy puts up numbers. I know Denver's playing well. I know the Raiders are going through, a lot of issues. They lost their wide receiver, but I'm taking the Raiders here. They have it as a pick 'em. I'm taking the Raiders here 27-24. And finally, the 7-6-1 Steelers, Rico's team at the Chiefs. Chiefs are a 10-point favorite. Let me just say this. Okay? We talk about you don't want to change. Things are happening all the time. People don't want to evolve. Vegas keeps putting the Chiefs as 10-point favorite, 9-point favorite, 8-point favorite. I know their defense is playing lights out, but the Steelers have a pretty good defense too. I'm taking the Chiefs to win, but I think the Steelers cover. So take the Chiefs 29-24. They do not win by 10. They cover. Just a reminder, we will be on air tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Time with Brad Ward and A-Marie. A-Marie has a tough game this week against the Rams. I'm sure Brad's going to be miserable because the Packers beat them in a kind of a controversial win. Make sure to subscribe the Nuts and Bolts YouTube channel. Make sure to give us a thumbs up on this particular channel. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for really putting the making the show fun. I know it was hard this week with the holidays and people being all around, but we love the comments. Keep them coming. Really appreciate the support. And in the immortal words of Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back. You have a record that will never be broken.
You can't trip. Okay.
They hit big shots with Luka. I think the Clippers have no idea.
Oh, look at that reaction. Look at that reaction.